Okay, guys, I think it's time for a quick reading update. I'm probably about a quarter of the way through Bluebeard's Castle by Anna Biller, and I was really excited to read this book because it's really inspired by du Maurier's Rebecca and that sort of era of Gothic romance and Gothic fiction. And it's obviously also inspired by the Bluebeard fairy tale, which is one of my fairy tales, and I think is like really ripe for adaptation, but doesn't get adapted a lot. So I was really excited to start this, but I'm like very much in two minds about it so far. So I think the thing that's throwing me off the most is that it felt like Anna Biller wanted to write both a period book and a contemporary novel and couldn't decide, so just did both. And it's just like not entirely working. The tone is just a bit off. Abigail, our main character, is like really obsessed with the 30s and the 40s and kind of the 50s, which would work if she was just like really into that era, but everything around her is also kind of that time period. But then it's also set in contemporary England. Like occasionally people just like pull out a smartphone, or there's like random modern references that feel like they don't belong in the story because everything else feels like it could be in the 1940s or the 1950s. Like even Abigail's mother was this very famous model. Her sister is now a very famous model, but they're very much like those sort of glamour girls and screen stars. Like they don't feel like a famous supermodel of like the 80s and the 90s, which is like what they would be. They feel more like an old Hollywood film star and that sort of like Hollywood aesthetic, which just doesn't make sense for the time period. And then, sure, Abigail, not Abigail, her name's Janet. Sorry, I've gotten that messed up. The character in the book that Judith is writing is named Abigail. Her name is Judith. But Judith also, like, okay, she's obsessed with like 30s and 40s fashion. That's how she wants to dress. She wants to look like a Hitchcock film heroine. That's the vibe. But then they can also just like really easily access that fashion just like on the high street, and it just doesn't make sense. And then Judith is also like very sort of bizarre, which I actually like. I like how melodramatic it is, like the language that she uses in the prose and everything. I think it really works because it really communicates Judith's unreliability as a narrator.